Hello everyone, welcome to database management course. This is week number 2. Um, I am sharing with you the Blackboard week number 2 tab, and what I want to do with you right now is to go over the week number 2 material in Blackboard. I'll go over the assignments and that involves with database management models and Zybook chapter 1. So when you come into um, Blackboard week number 2, this will be opened up and shared with you, but the objective for this week is for you to understand different parts that make up the database management system environment and their terms. And here under the instructional material you will see both the lesson plan and this lecture video that I am going to record and upload. There are 2 assignments. One is a discussion board assignment and another is the Zybook assignment. So if you click on this and download, you should see this lesson plan. Let me make it a little bit bigger so you can see. And so it basically has the objective assignments and then a little bit of outline of Zybook chapter 1. For assignment number 1, I'd like you to be aware of different database management systems. Obviously the one that we're using is not the only one, not even for a relational database. So what I'd like you to do is to go out to this website and then kind of browse through and understand that there are different ones. So if you click on this, you should land over here. And I thought this was a good outline and bird's eye view of different database management systems. Let me make it a little bit larger here. So there are at least 8 different kinds, and they can be categorized a little bit differently, but this is a helpful categorization. And so there is what's called hierarchical databases. There are network databases, relational database, which we are using. There's object-oriented, graph, ER, and other ones. Right? There's even a database management system that uses a NoSQL. But I'd like you to go through them, just browse what they are, how they look like, and even their advantages and disadvantages. I'd like you to pay a special attention, though, to the relational database, because here we're using the SQL query language to query and add and maintain the data. And there are, I think it even gives you some samples of different relational database systems, commercial ones like Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, SQLite, and DB2. There are some advantages and disadvantages, so I'd like you to be aware of them. Here's 2 major advantages that can be used with very little training because they seem to be very intuitive, and then can be modified without specifying the entire body, right? And so go through them and summarize the different database management systems and share that on your a discussion board. For the assignment number 1 for Zybook chapter 1, I'd like you to do just the remaining portion, section 2, 3, 4, 5 of chapter 1, because last week we did chapter 1, section 1, just to get to know, so that I know that you are able to get to it, that you have registered for it, and how to navigate. But just do the rest of the items. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll go over there and then kind of go through them. So here, if you're looking at doing the Zybook assignment, you can click on this, right? So, which I'll do that right now. So let me just kind of get out of here and just click on this. It'll try to connect and it'll land you into, well, here I'm using 2 of them, so I'm going to have to pick one, and well, so anyway, I needed to clean up a little bit, but you will be landing in the beginning portion of the assignment, the database systems. And so there, as it was in the last week, there are some activities that I'd like you to go through. Obviously, there are some issues or topics that we need to be concerned about, especially the performance, authorization, security, the rules and recovery, all those items. So go through them. Transaction is a very important portion, aspect of the relational database, particularly for the T-SQL, but go through them. And there's a little taste of the query language. We'll be using the SQL for this relational database, and so go through them. And here are some list of functions that we can do. We can insert the data, select the data, update the data, and delete the data as well, right? So it gives you a little bit of experience on how to do that. You don't need to know all the SQLs even at this point or even later because this is not a SQL class, but a database management class. But we will be doing a lot of SQL down the road. Okay. So do that. And all those ones that I assigned are participation activities, so if you get them wrong, you can try them again. There are some way for you to program within the database, so it kind of gives you a little bit of what that's all about. We won't be doing a lot. Yeah, I don't think we'll be doing any programming in this class for the database, but we may for the other related database courses. This Zybook platform happens to be using MySQL rather than T-SQL, or MySQL as in the system here. So you will have some flavor of the MySQL functions. We will be using Microsoft SQL Server, but all the stuff that we'll be using, there won't be a whole lot of difference. Okay. So you can do that. So if you wanted to try some of these, you can download as well. Let me show you how to get to the. So let me pause this here. Well, let me actually not forget. So in terms of SQL syntax and command and stuff, there are many websites that you can go to. One of the popular one happens to be w3school.com/SQL/, and it gives you a little bit of, not a whole lot of, words, just very basic. And then it also has some activities they can do to try it out. So a lot of people like this. So if you don't have any preference, you want a website that you can start off with, this may be a good option. If you log directly into Zybook, let me log into mine. So I didn't come here from the link within the Blackboard. I came here directly by logging into the Zybooks.com. But sometimes you may want to do this if you want to have more practice, right? So like for example, chapter 1, I assigned these for here. But let's say you were doing query language, right? So here you kind of went through some of these participation activities. But let's see if there is other ones here. No, I don't think there's any non-participatory examples. So maybe if I go into, let's say, SQL as an example. This may be good. So you can come any portion. So I guess one of the advantage of coming here directly is that you can navigate through all of the Zybook contents, right, that are available for you. Another is if you go through some of the participation activities that I assigned, but there are other ones that you may want to try, right? Let's see if I can find one. So here are some challenging activities. So there are some challenging activities within the Zybook sections, which I did not assign. So if you want to try something more challenging, and if you think you have some SQL backgrounds or whatever backgrounds within any of these chapters, you can try them, right? I just wanted to show you that. But I think that's pretty much all you have to do. So let me go back to the lesson plan. And so the idea of this week is for you to understand some basic concept of the database management system and its parts. So I'm asking you to do two assignments. One of them is the overview of different models. Not just the different database relational, but just basic database models, and then go through the book section 1. I kind of went over a little bit, and then one thing I didn't talk about is in section 4 in designing and programming. So let me get over there real quick. Here, we will be, in this class, we'll be designing a database. So in section 4, it talks about the entity relationship diagram. So we'll be using a software that will help us to design. And when we're designing it, we want to be mindful of these two concepts, logical design and physical design. We'll be talking mostly about the logical design in such a way. What that means is that we'll be designing the database using softwares and some charts and configuration stuff like that. But eventually, that'll have to be actually physically installed on your server, physical server, or maybe even virtual server. But it has to be a actual thing, right? And people need to be able to go in there, not just on paper or anything. So there are two portions of design. One of them is a logical design, and then we have to translate into actual physical design. We won't be doing much of a physical design because that involves a lot of hardware and cost, but we will be doing a logical design. And one of the things that we'll have to do is to design these tables and relationship and things like that. And there are many tools, but one tool that we'll be using, which I put it in the lesson plan, is called as Lucid Charts. So you can go there if you like, and you can set up a basic free account, which I'll show you later on. But let me pause here. Let me back up a second. So you can search for it, or you can click on the link. But so here's a lucidchart.com. You click on them, and then you can log in or create a sign up for free. I'm already logged in, so you'll see some of these. And so here are some basic diagrams that we'll be creating, which will be very useful for you. We'll talk more about this as the weeks go by, but I just wanted to show you this too. All right, I think that's pretty much it. So that wraps up the week number 1. So let's go back to here in the Blackboard. The objective talked about the instructional material, lesson plan. I'll update the video, and these are the 2 items. So I'll open up the other sections shortly, so have a good week and look forward to receiving your work. Take care. Bye-bye.